Previously.
Wheeled warriors explode into battle. Lightning strikes.
Who's gonna be there when it really counts? To that Care Bears countdown. Inspector Gadget. The music's contagious. Outrageous. Jim is my name. No one else is the same. Jim is my name. Jim.
And now, Pincho Wars. Return of the Cartoons.
All right, Knight, you're up. What do we
So
want to say?
I would like to apologize to John Gray because I do think that somebody should do Alf, but I have to leave in 6 minutes. So I would like, before I go, one last S tier. Can we please hear the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme before I go?
Oh, teenage.
We're displaying the winner early, are we?
I mean, I want to be here when the winner is played so I can talk about how great it is.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started in 1987, ended in 1996, had 10 seasons. This is the original run. This is not any of the Nickelodeon stuff afterwards. Had voices of Towson Coleman played Michelangelo, Cam Clark was Leonardo, Barry Gordon Donatello, Rob Paulson was Raphael, and you may know Rob Paulson as Yakko Warner from the Animaniacs, amongst many others. James Avery, Uncle Phil, was Shredder. Uncle Phil was Shredder. And this is a story based off the comic book, but they toned it down a lot because the comic book was very dark. It's about 4 turtles who were mutated by an ooze, turned into teenagers, trained by their master Splinter, and now they fight Shredder, Krang, and all the rest of the foot soldiers along with Bebop and Rocksteady. So we're going to dive right on into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is definitely a good one.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting team.
We're really hip.
Ninja Turtles. They're heroes in the half shell. And they're green.
Hey, get a grip.
When the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut 'em no slack. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter taught them to be ninja teens.
He's a radical rat.
Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines.
That's a fact, Jack.
Raphael is cool but rude.
Give me a break.
Michelangelo is a party dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
I love how they didn't come out and specifically say Donatello was a nerd. They just came out and said that he does machines, which that in itself does sound terrible. So there's that.
He does what?
Machines. He does machines. Leonardo leads.
In what sense does he do machines?
I don't know. I don't know. But in any case, that is an absolute banger of an intro. I really do love that one. It's got a special place in my heart. And the fact that it was able to last for so long is also a testament to the cartoon itself. But the intro, just in and of itself, catchy, action-packed, shows all the characters. You get a clear sense of what's going to be going on down the road, and it's really great. And since we're going to mess up with the order, Knight, what do you think?
I mean, what can I say that you haven't said and that like everybody else isn't already thinking? Like 10 out of 10, no notes. It tells you who everybody is. You see Splinter turn into a rat. Like there's pizza, there's partying. We get the sense of each of our 4 heroes. And each of us could probably sing that from memory like 20 years later. It is perfect.
I was singing it. I had to mute myself.
Yeah.
I was singing.
I also
I'll be doing
muted
that after
myself.
stream.
I'm saying like again, 10 out of 10, no notes.
Boomer, Nessa.
If, as an elder millennial, if there was ever a moment where it would be, let me sing you the song of my people, that is the song of my people.
That's fair.
If I had to pick one cartoon from my childhood, you're looking at it right there. I had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles merch. Like I've watched all the TV show. Absolutely loved the first 2 live action movies. The third one was kind of we won't get into that now. It's, I would argue, picture perfect visual storytelling from an intro. The song absolutely fucking slaps. And you get a feel for everything you need to know about the show. You can go in completely cold, like what the fuck am I looking at? And by the end of the video, you're going to know what the fuck you're looking at. You know exactly what's going on. And I honestly, zero fucking notes. That picture perfect intro.
This is actually my sister's favorite cartoon growing up too. Had all the action figures. But I asked a question in chat, like what I want to know, the real question here is, who is everyone's favorite turtle?
See, I'm partial to Donatello personally.
That's my favorite. Donatello's my favorite.
I am Leonardo because I'm a basic bro.
I don't know. I feel like as a kid, I was Michelangelo, but then I grew up into Raphael. Like I grew up to be a sarcastic wise ass, right?
Bay.
I don't have. I know it's already been said, but 10 out of 10. No. Like that was the business.
That was the business. And it seems unanimous at this point that this is an amazing intro.
You said that we get a save icon if we feel that a cartoon has been unfairly denigrated. I almost want to use mine for the fact that we're not immediately making this S tier, that we have to wait, that I have to wait 2 weeks.
Well, because
we're fleshing out the runtime.
We have some classics that are also still coming up in the 80s, and there are some real bangers coming up in the 90s as well.
Yes.
So we want to give everybody a fair shake.
On that note, thank you all for having me. I will see you in, what is it, a week? I think?
Yes, it's next Saturday.
But have a good rest of the stream.
Thank you, Knight, for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful time tonight.
Bye, Knight.
All right, so we are going to continue on, and yes, that is an amazing intro. 8 votes on that, all 100%. So, Bay, where would you like to go?
Let's go with Pac-Man. I can't remember what that intro was like.
Oh man, there's one.
I don't remember either. This is gonna be something.
There's a core memory from my childhood right there. This is a core memory. 1982 to 1983. 2 seasons, 54 episodes. The synopsis was Pac-Man, a plucky, happy-go-lucky, comical fellow, and a popular video game cartoon stars in his own animated series, along with Miss Pac-Man, his wife, and their son, Baby Pac. Interestingly enough, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, what I consider the voices of the 80s cartoons, both played the animals in this series. Peter Cullen was Sourpuss, Frank Welker was Chomp Chomp. Lorenzo Music played Super Pac-Man in this. Marty Ingalls was Pac-Man. Barbara Minkus was Mrs. Pepper, because she wasn't called Mrs. Pac-Man, she was Mrs. Pepper. There's a wide range of other people who were in this as well, but yeah, just the fact that Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, who were the voices of the 80s, played the animals, they were all over the place. You're going to see that as we go through the 80s here. They are everywhere. It's ridiculous. So we'll check this out here real quick. I'll see you on the other side of it. This is Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. That's me. Pac-Man. Oh, I must have those power pellets. Go find me the power pellet bonus.
It is a super simple intro. It pretty much conveys the entire series and what was going to be going on. Pac-Man eats power pellets. Pac-Man chomps ghosts. Ghosts try to chomp Pac-Man. There is a main villain, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but he tries to get all of the power pellets from the power pellet forest, but can't find them. That's why he sends his ghosts out. I love this one, but I don't know, like, it's a good intro. I don't know if it goes above that for me personally. Babe, what do you think?
I think that says it all.
So I saw it in chat. Okay. What the fuck? That was I think I remember that from the last time I was sick and had a fucking fever dream, because what just happened?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I'm done.
Boomer, Nessa, thoughts?
I can't believe that somebody actually got paid to produce that.
2 seasons.
Somebody got paid a lot of money to produce that then. I didn't care for the animation style. I don't think that it fit in necessarily with the original source material, which we're going to disregard the original source material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they obviously did.
Yeah, and can you scroll through to that close-up shot of that villain who obviously did not belong in that universe?
Two heads.
This one right here?
Guy.
That guy?
why is he so unnecessarily horrifying? Like, what happened to his face?
He's like
What
Dr.
happened to his-
Eggman meets Darth Vader.
Yeah, you're talking. This is like a cross. Yeah,
Is that his
Bro.
name? Mesmeron? Mesmeron was his name? I couldn't remember what it was. I don't know if it was ever actually said what his name was in the cartoon.
It wasn't. You don't get a feel for him other than I want to eat power pellets.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's his whole motivation. That's.
I mean, they're creating a whole world based on a very basic video game. Like, there was absolutely 100% creating stuff on the fly on this one. So
Maybe they shouldn't have.
His cape looks like a church choir robe. Like,
he reminds me of
Yeah.
he reminds me of another character that will come across here this afternoon, because if nobody else brings it up, I'm bringing it up. But he reminds me of another villain character from another cartoon. So why does he have no mouth? I don't know why he has no mouth. So I'm assuming that this is not a very good intro for everybody.
I wanted to like it, but I knew in the first 3 seconds I wasn't going to.
Now, unfortunately, I have a lot of bias on a lot of these 80s cartoons because these are a lot that I grew up with personally. And I remember enjoying the cartoon series itself. But just looking at the intro itself, yeah, I happen to agree. It's a terrible intro. It really is.
With every what the fuck that just happened, I am gonna actually say that it's a good intro, and the only reason I'm gonna say that is because it looks like something that I would make my friends smoke a lot of weed and say, you gotta fucking watch this. 'Cause you know what?
I don't have
So
drill
for
for a
that,
while.
I'm giving it a good intro.
Okay. All right. What do you think? Are we agreeing with the voting is going right now that this could have been better?
Yeah, and I'm also agreeing with smoking a lot of weed and watching this.
That could be a thing. That could be a thing. We'll have to arrange a day.
Find me in a couple years when I can do it legally, and we will absolutely do a little bacon SMC here.
You take no pride in saying that the theme song's always in your head. Yeah, I understand that, Doc. I get that. A lot of these theme songs are always in my head. I can't help it because that's just what it is. Okay, moving on. I'm going to piggyback right off of this one, and I'm going to hit the one that I was referencing. This one is called Filmation's Ghostbusters. Now, if you are unaware of what this one is, Filmation Ghostbusters, the reason why the real Ghostbusters is called the real Ghostbusters is because Filmation owned the rights to the name Ghostbusters. 1975 live-action TV show called The Ghostbusters, which is actually connected to this cartoon, in which Jake Kong Jr. and Eddie Spencer Jr., these are the sons of the original Ghostbusters in this series, along with Tracy the Gorilla. Yes, there was a gorilla in the live-action TV show. They took some liberties with the cartoon, but this did air in 1986, right before the real Ghostbusters released their cartoon. Had one season, 65 episodes. Let's see here. Pat Fraley was in this. Peter Cullen. Pat Fraley played Jake Kong. Peter Cullen was Eddie. Alan Oppenheimer was Prime Evil, which is the villain in this one. You're going to see him and you'll be like, hey, that looks like the guy from the last intro. So yeah, this is Filmation's Ghostbusters. By the way, Bay, I loved your freaking face. That was great. When Tracy the gorilla first came on. And chat, you're absolutely correct. This is a terrible cartoon, but we're not looking at the cartoon itself. We're looking at the intro. Like I said, this came out, they rushed to get this out before the Ghostbusters because they had the trademark on the name. So the series was loosely put together. It's based on the live action series. It's entertaining, at least a little bit, the intro is, but I think it could be a lot better. It's okay. It's not terrible. Babe, what do you think? I want your reaction because I loved your face. I loved your face when Tracy the gorilla first popped up. You were like, what the fuck is this?
I had so many emotions in like the first 5 seconds. so many. It was as if my life flashed before my eyes. It wasn't until I saw the gorilla that I remembered this cartoon at all. And as soon as I did, and then as soon as I realized that it was the two brothers, I had this holy shit moment. This is the intro to Supernatural had it been a cartoon in the 80s.
The Winchesters?
Yes. So the Winchesters are the brothers, and then the gorilla is very well is Castiel, or very well could be Castiel. That robot thing was probably Bobby. That was that's it.
Yeah.
So for that, I think it was a good intro because I love throwing a wrench into statistics.
Gotcha. Boomer, Nessa?
I'm gonna let you take this first because I have a lot notes on
Okay. Well, first of all, the one thing I wanted to point out is I don't know where you can get that phone, but I want that phone, like the skull phone that he picked.
Oh
up.
yeah.
That was pretty.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And it yells at them every time there's a phone call. It yells at them. It's great.
Visually yells at them.
I think the problem with this intro is not even so much the intro. I think it's because even though, like, when we hear Ghostbusters, we think of the Ghostbusters that we know. And I think that taints this intro so much because the Ghostbusters we know is
If it hadn't
the
existed,
Ghostbusters
it would
we
be a
know
different
that
story.
we all love. So I think it taints this intro a lot because it's not what it's going into. And I don't think the intro was that bad. It could have been better, but I think it's always going to have that taintedness to it because if you go and click it, the first thing you think of is your Ghostbusters and you watch it and you're like, this is not what the hell am I watching? It's not the same thing. I think we're all biased in that. I think anybody would be biased in that, clicking into it and not being the same thing. And I think that we all maybe do this intro a little bit of a disservice because of that, and that's not.
I can see that.
Everything that happened to push out this cartoon.
I can see that, and it looks like we're in a deadlock between it's a good intro, it could be better, and meh. So, anybody chat want to voice your vote real quick before it ends here?
I do remember hearing a story back in the day about how the Ghostbusters almost had a different title because of this franchise, and they didn't want to be sued.
Yep.
I think that this franchise should have been worried about being sued by Hanna-Barbera. Especially that Scooby-Doo style running across the screen and running back. There was such like a tonal disconnect between so much shit in this intro. You have like your protagonists who honestly, with their creepy like sort of twisted faces, they sort of look like the villains of the show. And then do like a lightning flash cut to the fucking gothic space castle for like no reason. Like I can't tell what this show's about just by watching this intro, except for they're the Ghostbusters and that's like the only lyrics. There's nothing like in my ear holes telling me what to feel about this show. Other than the fact that I fucking hate it already.
So one of my core memories of this show is their whole transformation sequence that's actually in the cartoon itself when they go into the little bone closet that they have and it takes them on this journey to put their costumes on and whatnot. Like that is very much a core memory for me, that entire, sequence basically. The cartoon itself wasn't the best. It felt like a cheap knockoff. It felt like Wish Ghostbusters, but it did have like Wish
Scooby-Doo.
It did have a special place though. I mean, like I look back and watch it, with some fond recollection. But yeah, it's definitely no real Ghostbusters at all. And the bone closet. Look, don't talk to me. That's what it is. It's a bone. They had a bone TV. They had a bone phone, and there was a bone closet. Okay, don't ask me. They put it in the show. Okay, what am I supposed to call it?
I thought it was going to be a Bonevator when they
E.T. Bone Home. E.T. Bone Phone. So we're sitting at a tie here with.
But it was a 3-way tie, right? So I would go the middle of the way.
Yeah. So this could be better. We could go with that. I can absolutely do that.
Category below, it probably still would have been a 4-way tie.
Yep. I tell you what, chat and panelists, give a shout out to Slamorous, who is our moderator for today, and she's also been the one putting up the polls for us. So please give Slam a freaking, thank you very much. She is doing great behind the scenes work for me. Give a round of applause and thanks, and throw up some dancing butts or something like that in chat for Slam, doing all the behind the scenes work and keeping an eye on chat for me. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Slam. Boomer, Nessa, you're up next to pick where we're going next.
Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. This was 1986 to 1987. This one was only one season, and it was 13 episodes, and that was it. Got voices from Rob Paulson in here, Don Messick, Michael Bell. It's a continuation of the original storyline from the 60s. 13-episode series aired as a syndicated part of Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera weekend cartoon package. So it was all kind of wrapped up with something else. But yeah, let's check out Johnny Quest. Is it just me, or did that green monster look like the one that Captain James T. Kirk had to face on that planet? Is that just me, or?
Literally exactly the same monster.
So you guys picked it. Let's start off with Boomer and Nessa. What do you think?
I'll let you go first.
You're going first because I have a lot of notes, and you're not going to like what I have to say.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be diplomatic here. So
Okay.
Johnny Quest is one of my favorites from way back when the first one. I don't think the intro's bad, though. Like, you kind of get an idea. I will say that I wouldn't rank this at the highest, and I probably wouldn't. I would say it's a good intro, even though I love this cartoon. But it doesn't convey the fact that Johnny's a little shit who gets into trouble all the time, and Ray Spanian and Dr. Quest have to rescue his ass all the time. And his friend Haji. Like, I'm just like, it doesn't really convey. Like, you see there's adventures. You see that, it's basically Scooby-Doo, but not Scooby-Doo. They're not trying to investigate something. It's just that Johnny always finds himself in a stupid situation, in a pickle, because he can't stay in the car when you tell a kid to stay in the damn car. You don't get really any of that. You just kind of see it as kind of an adventure, and I think it's good, though. I think it's kind of engaging, and you kind of watch it like, maybe I'll watch the cartoon, but
There was a lot of stuff from this intro that puts it in an A for me. There's a lot of stuff from this intro that puts it into C and D for me.
Okay.
One thing I did like is that they kept a lot of the art style from the original cartoon. There's subtle little tweaks, but you can see the intent to stay true to the original material was there. I like that, even though we're not taking the original source material into account. I think the intro outstayed its welcome by about 15 to 20 seconds. You're sitting there, you're like, all right, this is pretty cool. And they're like, all right, that was pretty cool. Like, all right, we get it. You have a lot of seemingly over the top stuff in there where it's like, holy shit, what the hell was that? But that's sort of the idea is like, okay, how are they going to write this one into the show? Like, how are they going to explain a giant Gorn James T. Kirk monster that you can still see the zipper on the side and all that? Like, how are they going to write this into the show?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. It's still, it's very Scooby-Doo vibes is the show in general. Like, there's always somebody doing something mischievous, and they're always wearing some sort of costume, like a swamp monster thing. It doesn't really, you don't know what the cartoon is going into, really, other than these adventure things, because you don't know, Dr. Quest is basically like the Elon Musk of the time, who's making all these things.
And you don't get that feel from the
And Ray Spanian is a Manny. That's what he is. He's like a CIA Manny. He just takes care of Johnny. That's literally his job.
So we personally put this in. This is a good intro, and I think that's a fair spot.
Yep. Hey.
I also put it in. This is a good intro. Like right off the bat, like I got a sense memory of Archer. Like it felt.
Yes.
It just like it was. Archer definitely like copied that first little bit. There was a whole jazz interlude in the middle, and I think that might be the 15 seconds that we can cut out because oh my god, like
Couldn't agree more.
That whole thing was written by cocaine. Also, there was
That's a theme here in the 80s, isn't it?
well, there was a big brained baby paragliding. That was really upsetting. Like, I don't understand if it was is he like wearing a backpack or is it part of him? Like, I'm really confused. And that baby is definitely going to be on my nightmares.
Oh, to talk to. We're here.
So I really agree with all this too. I was never really a Johnny Quest fan, just mainly because he always seemed like a little shit to me that just wouldn't listen and kept getting in trouble. And when I was growing up, that was not a thing that you were supposed to be doing, was getting in trouble. So I never really kind of got into Johnny Quest very much. And the later series that we'll touch on in the 90s was even worse for me. But so bad. So yeah, I mean, I put this in that it's a good intro. I don't think it's like, it definitely gives that Venture Brothers Archer kind of feel to it. They definitely both pulled from the series heavily when they made those series. So there's a little bit of jading or at least cross memory there as far as between the shows and whatnot. But it wasn't super terrible, but it wasn't also like, I mean, it was exciting, but it wasn't like, I don't know, it just didn't nail it for me personally. So, but I put it in that it's good. It's good. And by the looks of it, everybody who has voted seems to agree the same as well, that it's a good one. It's a good one.
It is definitely an intro that we've watched.
Bay, where are we going next? What adventure are we traveling?
Sorry, I was.
How do you spell that?
She-Ra. Sorry.
Wow, do you need a moment? Are you okay?
I'll be fine.
Oh, okay. Is that where you would like me to go now? Is She-Ra?
Yeah.
We can definitely go.
I had a visceral reaction to. I'm about to learn something else about me.
Oh, hell no. Here we go. Adventure time. It's Adventure time. So 1985 was when this was released. It had 2 seasons, 93 episodes in 2 seasons. Holy crap.
I beg your fucking pardon.
93 episodes in 2 seasons. It was created as a spin-off of the popular cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which He-Man did make a lot of appearances in this series as well. The show was aimed at young girls, quickly became one of Filmation's biggest hits, and of course there was an entire toy line that was associated with it and whatnot. So we'll watch this and we'll discuss on the other side. Here we go, She-Ra.
Darkness rules, fights the champion of light. Where hope seems lost, there rides the rebellion. Together they stand ready against the dark, evil warriors of the Horde and their leader, the terrible Hordak. Rebellion, armed with hope and ancient powers against the force of an intergalactic army. This is the story of one who will become leader of the Great Rebellion. She-Ra, Princess of Power.
I like the little echo at the end there. Power. So I was forced to watch this cartoon with my sister because we shared a TV on Saturday mornings, and this was one of the ones where we had my mother made the agreement that we had to switch between cartoons. So that's why I know My Little Pony so well and Gem so well and She-Ra and whatnot, because I watched all these cartoons. So this one, I love this. I actually didn't mind watching this one so much because He-Man kept popping into this one, and I think that was in one respect a disservice to the series because they relied so heavily upon He He-Man being in the show at times, where
It
they
was
just
distracting.
didn't, they just didn't feel like it could carry its own. But the intro for this, there is actually 2 intros, and John does bring up that this is the original intro. There's a later one that's a little bit more action-packed and whatnot. But I feel like this intro here really kind of sets up the series for what it is. It doesn't show He-Man at all, but you can get the sense that it's part of that universe. It reuses a lot of the same elements and sounds that was used in Masters of the Universe. And I think this is a really great intro, personally. I really like this one. Bae, what do you think? We want the story time.
So there were. Okay. It breaks down to just me really wanting to be She-Ra, like a lot. And I remember in kindergarten, more than once, I made plans and followed through on them with my bestie at the time, that we were going to come to school dressed as She-Ra. And the closest I could get, like, clearly my mom's not gonna let me just wear a costume, so I had to sneak a pink Afghan. And on a day that I had like these little suede boots that were like super cute. So that is how I turned myself into She-Ra in kindergarten.
That's
And
amazing.
It's not as that story's not as good as the first one, but it does still have a special place in my heart. So that being said, that intro was not good. It was all right, but I definitely lost interest about halfway through. So for the nostalgia, I voted already and already forgot what I put. I think I put it's a good intro.
Okay. Boomer, Nessa?
You want to kick this off?
Yeah, so I voted for us. I said it was a great intro because it conveyed a lot of what the show was. Like, you got the basis of the character and the show, and the background music too was kind of okay.
It was catchy, a little cheesy for my taste, but it got the job done.
It wasn't amazing, I'll tell you that. But I didn't think it wasn't bad.
I think
thought
if they
it was a
would've-
good intro, great intro.
I think if they would have edited a little bit tighter, like cut out some of the filler, I don't know that you necessarily need to have the executive producer's name up in lights in the middle of the intro for 5 seconds.
They did that with all of his.
10 or 12. If you cut 10 or 12 seconds off that intro, I think you could make a very, very easy case for a great intro. I think it sits between C and B, and I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and go B.
Yeah, John's right. Every Filmation cartoon does that. They always have Lou's name in big on screen for a couple seconds in every intro that they do. According to voting, everybody's putting this in the C rank. It's a good intro, and I tend to agree with that. I think it's good. Like I said, there is a second intro that is a little bit more exciting, so to speak, but I really kind of wanted to, like, this very first one is the one that I remember the most, me personally, because I had to sit through like every episode that there ever was. So
I wasn't really familiar with the character prior to this, but her outfit is kind of badass.
Oh yeah, right. And it's the cousin of He-Man. So what do you expect? All right, so I'm going to pick one of my personal favorites. I have lots of personal favorites, but this is definitely one of my favorite ones. We're going to hit the Silverhawks. I absolutely love this cartoon. I love this intro. It was only 1 season, which is an absolute crime for this series. It was produced in '86, 1 season, 65 episodes. A lot of the same voice actors that did Silverhawks did Thundercats, and also did a lesser known anamorphic series called Tiger Sharks. They reused a lot of the same voice actors in these. So you might hear some voices that sound like they came from Thundercats as well. Absolutely they did. So, but the synopsis real quick is: in the far-flung future, the galaxy of Limbo is in dire need of some heroes. They're terrorized by the villainous Monstar and his galactic horde, and the only hope against this tyranny is partly metal, partly real, cybernetic enhanced super team, the Silverhawks. So let's check out the intro.
Tally ho! Wings of silver, birds of steel. Silverhawks, partly metal, partly real. Silverhawks, soaring through the highway of the heavens in their flight. Silverhawks, a rainbow in the night.
personally love everything about this intro. Monstar was voiced by the same person who did Mumra in the Thundercats. I believe Panthero's voice actor makes an appearance at some point within the series, as well as Lion-O. It is freaking amazing. And yeah, exactly, John. It was really overshadowed by the popularity of Thundercats, and it only had one season. But this particular intro, it tells you what it is. They're partly metal, partly real. You can see all the action. You could clearly see who the good guys, the bad guys are, and you know it's taking place in space, so there's gonna be space battles and whatnot. It's all metal. It's all metal. And I'm gonna put this one as an amazing intro in my personal opinion. Boomer?
I just want to point out they were all not silver. One of those was like a cobalt, one of them was like a copper. So I feel very misled.
So the silver one is the leader, Quicksilver. The twins, the guy and the girl, that is Steelheart and Steel Will. They are made out of steel, or at least steel color. And then the brownish one is the Copper Kid. He's looking copper. And then there's Bluegrass. Bluegrass always confused me though, because Bluegrass talks with a southern accent and references a lot of like bluegrass kind of stuff, but yet he plays rock and roll and he's got a mohawk underneath of his cowboy hat. He confuses me so much.
So it's like country now.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
He was ahead of his time.
He really was. He really was. So
I felt like there was a story in that intro that didn't need to be told. So, generally speaking, for a cartoon intro, you set up who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, maybe a blurb about where they came from, cut to credits. This one felt like it had an extra 15 seconds of like battle sequence and like a resolution to that battle sequence that didn't fucking need to be there. It's like you have a mini episode before the episode starts. And that's one of the only reasons why I might take it down, but I'm not going to. We personally voted that it was a great intro. And I love the art style. It was like the super like shiny, early anime inspired heavy metal album cover kind of stuff that really blended a lot of different art styles together. And I was here for it.
Bae, what did you think?
Okay, so that was again, I'm gonna agree that there was like a whole 15 seconds that could have been cut out of that, and they could have taken again with the musical interlude. Like, I didn't need to see that guy play guitar for that long. That was totally unnecessary. And then, like, I saw the space squid or octopus, and it looked like he was losing control. And then I remembered that is almost like actual squid have jet propulsion. Like, that's how their body moves and so. But yeah, a space squid totally wouldn't move like that, and that's why I said it was a great intro and not an amazing intro.
That's fair. That's fair. I just want to refer everybody back to the idea of cartoon logic. Not everything makes sense. Because Rambo's a fucking cartoon, so let's go with that.
That's Hulk Hogan.
Yes, there's Hulk Hogan. All right, so it looks like the voting ended up with this is an amazing cartoon. I'm not personally going to disagree with that at all.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not gonna try it. You try it. I'm not gonna try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
When you bring life home, don't tell the kids it's one of those nutritional cereals you've been trying to get them to eat. You're the only one who has to know.